All right, so the focus of today's video is how do we convert from a fraction to a decimal? And there are always 4 ways that you could do this. The 4th way will work every single time, but the 4th way tends to be the longest way to go from a fraction to a decimal. So we have 3 shortcuts that we can check first, and if all of those shortcuts fail, the last way will work every single time. So let's talk about the first way. The first thing you always want to check for when you convert from a fraction to a decimal is check to see if that fraction is what we call a benchmark fraction. So our benchmarks are fractions, decimals, and percents that we should just know the conversions off the top of our head. They're the most common ones. So that would be like our halves, our thirds, our quarters, our fifths, our eighths, and our tenths. Those are going to be ones that we should just know. We memorize them, we know them right off the top of our head. So like 3/4, when I see that one, I go, oh, that's a benchmark fraction. So that would be and 75/100ths as a decimal. 3 and 7/10, my whole number stays the same. 7/10 as a decimal is 7/10. And 5/8 as a decimal, we're going to sing our song that we're going to learn, but 5/8 is and 625 thousandths, or in our song 0.625. Okay, so if you get lucky and it's a benchmark one, you know, there's really not any work to show. You just know it off the top of your head. But not every fraction we look at is going to be a benchmark. Sometimes it might be a benchmark in disguise. So the second thing that I want you to try is see if you can simplify it. And sometimes when you simplify, it becomes a benchmark. It becomes one that we already know. So for example, 6/18, they're both divisible by 6. So 6 divided by 6 would give me 1. 18 divided by 6 would give me 3. And 1/3 as a decimal is 3, 3 repeating. So 33/100ths with our little infinity hat on the top. 12/60, they're both divisible by 12. So 12 divided by 12 would give me 1. 60 divided by 12 would give me 5. So it turns out that was 1/5, which is and 2/10, or and 20/100ths, depending on how you want to write it. And then 4 and 15/30. Remember, we can't simplify the whole number, so the whole number stays the same. 15 and 30 both have 15 in common, so it becomes 1/2. So 4 and 1/2. 1/2 is a benchmark, so 4 and 5/10. Okay, so again, step 1 might already be a benchmark. If it's not, simplify. See if it becomes a benchmark. But not every fraction we look at is a benchmark fraction, even if we simplify it. So step number 3, what I want you to try to do, and it's not possible with every fraction, but try to convert the denominator. Remember, the denominator is the bottom part, the bottom number of that fraction, to the number 10 or 100. You might be thinking, Ms. Smith, why 10 and 100? Because those are our decimal place values. We have tenths and hundredths. So if we can get it to 10 or 100, it makes it super easy to write a decimal. So 13/25. I think that the easiest one would be 100. So my scale factor that gets me from 25 to 100 is times 4. Whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do also to the top. So 13 times 4, 3 times 4 would give me 12. Carry the 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 more is 52. So this is just 52/100ths, which looks like this as a decimal, 52/100ths. Okay. 6 and 3/30ths. Again, 10 or 100. I can't take 30 to 100, but I can take 30 to 10. So to go from 30 to 10, my scale factor is to divide by 3. Whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So 3 divided by 3 would give me 1. So 6 and 1/10 as a decimal looks like this. And then sometimes benchmarks, it's not a benchmark. Can't simplify it to be a benchmark. And sometimes we have denominators that can't go to 10 or 100. So if those 3 options fail, the one way that works every single time is just simply to divide. Put that top dog in the house. So 4/9. So 4 is my top dog. It goes inside the house. 9 goes on the outside. So 9 goes into 4 0 times. So I need to add a decimal and a 0. 9 goes into 40 a total of 4 times. 9 times 4 is 36. So when I subtract, I get 4, and I bring down a 0. And again, 9 goes into 40 4 times. I subtract, and I get 4. And as you can see, it's going to keep on going forever and ever and ever. So when that happens, what you have is a repeating decimal, just like with our thirds. So my final answer for this is 0 and 44 hundredths with that infinity hat over the last 4. 13 thirds. So let's divide 13 in the house, 3 on the outside of the house. 3 goes into 13 a total of 4 times. 4 times 3 is 12. And I get 1/3. And I can actually stop there because I can write this as a fraction. This is 4 and 1/3. And 1/3 happens to be a benchmark fraction. So this will be 4 and 3, 3 repeating with that infinity hat.